Remember when you told me.
Welcome to the River's Edge, everyone. Today, I'm so excited to interview Greg Sable. I met him in 2016. It was 2016. And it was 4 years ago, 4.5, I do believe. And we were hanging out in Miami at the Raleigh. It was the Raleigh, right?
Yes, I had to go back. It was either the SLS or the Raleigh. It was the Raleigh, I believe.
It was the Raleigh, and we were hanging out poolside, and we were next to each other, and we just hung out the whole day and got trashed on Mai Tais. I was drinking Mai Tais. Were you drinking Mai Tais too?
I don't remember what I was drinking. I think I was just drinking rum and cokes probably, but it was a great day.
Oh, so fun. Yeah, that's always my go-to when I'm doing poolside. I do the Mai Tai with the dark rum floater.
Got to keep it fresh, right?
Can't go wrong.
Never.
But I remember back then, so I didn't realize until going back that you had just started your own business at that time, right?
Yeah, actually, that's when it officially just launched back in April of 2016. But I was unofficially kind of learning the skills since 2014, I would say.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it was May of 2016 because I was there for a trade show because I remember that now.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
We launched officially in April is when we built the LLC.
I love it. So I've been doing videos on my YouTube and I've been doing talking current events and it gets a little depressing. And I wanted to do something more uplifting, which is you. I love it too. So tell everyone, name your company and what you do.
Absolutely, my pleasure. So first of all, thank you. It is an absolute pleasure for having the opportunity to be here on your show. I appreciate it and I'm super grateful. So thank you. And the name of our business is called the Be Your Own Hero Project. And my wife and I basically help people on an everyday basis to uncover their inner badass, right? Because so many of us were, for lack of a better term, right, we get trained to just accept what is instead of thinking outside of the box. And it's crucial to understand that we all have the power within us, but we have all these other blocks that get in the way of our power. So what we do is help you be your own hero.
I love that. I love that. And how would you say it's changed since then when you first started till now in terms of people waking up that they do have this power inside them? Has it been a big shift or no?
I think it has been a big shift because I myself have grown tremendously between 2016 and now. You know, this journey also includes my wife, right? So I think all of the experiences that we have cumulatively experienced since that time has helped our business to grow in terms of wisdom that we're able to offer through being able to genuinely connect with people on a real life basis. I don't know if you know this or not, because we actually just, I think very recently got reconnected through social media, but
well, I've always followed you on Instagram, but we haven't actually spoken since 2016.
Good to know. That's very true. So, you know, so I guess you do know I've gone through thyroid cancer, right? That was, you know, very unexpected. You know, so that's been part of my journey for the last 2 years. That when I started my business in 2016, I was on a personal development journey. I wanted to grow my life. I wanted to learn more about who I was. I wanted to be more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to give more, but I needed somebody to show me the way to do it. And as I was embarking on that journey and learning and growing and earning, I got sick. And I was able to morph everything that I've done, right? Because if I didn't do all that personal development up until that point, I'm not really sure how I would have transgressed through the whole cancer journey. But I know for certain that it's all the work that I did on my mind up until that point that gave me the resilience and the clarity to really kind of push through and you know, take that with a grain of salt. I've had many bad moments. I still do have, you know, bad moments, right? But that's all they are. They're bad moments. They're challenging moments. So I like to live. I actually heard this the other day and it gave me such clarity, is that the only place you can ever be is here. And the only time that ever lasts for forever is now. And I'm just going to live by those words for the rest of my life.
It's so true.
So,
The only matter that moments is the present moment. Why would you want to live in the past, even though?
exactly, right? Because we tend to give a lot of energy to either living in the future and thinking about, worrying about what's going to happen next, or we live in the past, giving our energy to regret and the what could have beens, right? So it's an interesting, you to sum up what you asked me is how has it changed, is in the beginning of my journey, it was very much about me as I was going through my journey and I was growing, right? It was about what I could achieve, right? And learning what it really meant to be my own hero. When I started the business, I didn't know that I was going to get sick. I didn't know that when I started telling everybody else to be their own hero, that was me telling me, getting my mind ready for the fact that I had to be my own hero. I had to go through this journey. There was no other way through it. There was no other way through it other than to go through it. So that is really the difference, is now this is very much about everybody else. How many other people's lives can I touch in the form of health and wellness? How many lives can I improve just by giving a smile?
I had no idea you had cancer, so I am very sorry for that experience. It sounds like you've had a lot of growth coming from it, but I did not realize that.
I had a mentor tell me that my circumstances were necessary so that I could light the path of darkness for others. And again, that's just very much a testament of, having to go through it in order to teach from it, right? Because we learn from the journey if we're open to it. If we're open to those lessons, being able to pass them on, that you only get through experience.
That's
So
so true.
I am not upset about the fact that I had cancer. I think that, of course, things could have gone differently, but the universe is always, always, always working in our favor. And it took me a really, really long time to even, number one, acknowledge the universe and even use that term, but to accept the fact that there are energies out there that are greater than us that, are guiding us to where we're supposed to be. And I think that's also a testament to how we got reconnected. We're supposed to be having this conversation right now. So
It's so true. It's so true. And I do like seeing your posts on Instagram. They're just so motivational. And I love, that's how you and I clicked in the first time, that day at the pool, talking
I
about
was
this kind
reading
of
Grant
stuff.
Cardone. What was I reading? The 10X. I was reading that day.
You didn't read anymore. You drank the rest of the day, by the way. Oh my God. That was also, wasn't there a huge thunderstorm that came down and everyone just scattered like
Yeah, everybody scattered that day.
it
It's
just,
wild.
yeah. And I had to go to the airport. I flew home in my bathing suit
I
because
remember you were leaving that day.
I was, and I didn't have to change. And yeah, I'm sure the too many Mai Tais had something to do with that. Or not Mai Tais, pina coladas. Oh, so funny. So I want to hear about your experience then with the thyroid cancer. How, are you cancer free now?
So nobody has ever told me that I am cancer free, but in my heart, I firmly believe that I don't have cancer anymore. My journey was very interesting. It was a pretty rare case. So it sent me down the rabbit hole, because of all people, like, how could this happen to me? Like, I definitely went there. So I just want to acknowledge that, and just put it out there. Nobody's perfect, right? So
Right.
it's very easy to have those moments of weakness, and just being able to acknowledge it and reframe it. I think it was super important for my journey. Um, but it was hard.
How did
It was hard.
you get, what did you do? A vegan diet or plant-based
So
or?
so I changed a little bit. Again, part of my journey with Be Your Own Hero, really since 2014, has been centered around health and wellness. I started in 2014 putting some really incredible products into my body, And I was at a place in my life where I needed to change. I was ready for change. The pain of remaining the same was greater than the pain of changing. So I was ready to change, right? And I was recovering from a spinal fusion surgery. I had gotten hit by a car sometime before that. And I was probably about 30 pounds overweight where I wanted to be. And like I said, I was ready to change. I didn't want to feel the way I felt anymore. I was finishing my master's in public health, and I was also working 65 hours a week in a very busy pizza restaurant
Wow.
in Long Beach, New York. And it kept me busy, right? So I wanted to change. And that led me here. That led me by changing what I put into my body and, taking out all of the things that I shouldn't have been doing, right? I really kind of live in balance, more moderation. I do typically replace 1 to 2 meals per day with amazing shakes, and I use other incredible superfoods that I think everybody should be using because they're just wonderful.
I do the
uh,
Purium shakes. Do you do Purium ever? Do you know Purium?
I don't use Purium. So my wife and I are actually partnered with Isogenics. So we've been using Isogenics since 2014.
Do you
And
promote them? Do you sell their products also?
we do.
Oh, okay.
That is how we support our family. That is one part of our business. That is pretty
One
much the
revenue
mainstay
stream.
of what has made Up Be Your Own Hero and really kind of pushed it into what it is becoming. We are on the verge of launching lifestyle coaching, one-on-one coaching. We're also going to have a couples connection course. So we have a couple of things that are in the works that we are super excited to launch, and we're going to teach people how to dreamcast, because people forget how to do that and how important it is to put your thoughts down on paper and have a vision board and have it in front of you and have goals that you're working towards. And we have become professionals. We have become masters at that over the last 6.5 to 7 years that we've been doing this. And, we're just so excited to be able to pass on that knowledge. And I think what separates my wife and I, from other people in the industry is that we've been able to do this while taking life head on. And when I say that, I'm not saying that everybody else doesn't take life head on. I'm talking about the obstacles that we have gone through and overcome. We are a blended family. We have 2 older children from my wife's first marriage. We have a 3-year-old who is the glue of our family that brings everybody together, right? So we went through that, the melding of families, having a blended family, right, is a dynamic. We talked about this, so I think that sets us apart from, just fitting in with the normal family that doesn't have to deal with the things that we deal with on an everyday basis. So we have gained a lot of experience from that. Right. We've gone through my cancer journey, and through that journey, we've met some really incredible people, and I've learned how to connect with people in a way that I don't think you can learn from reading it in a book. You learn it from talking to people and listening, hearing people's stories and hearing their pain and connecting with their pain, and learning how to use that as a motivating and a driving force for your life. I can go on in a whole other tangent,
love it.
Right? But this is what life is about, right? So taking from these journeys and being able to bring it here, that's what we are excited to really bring forth, because those are some of the most difficult circumstances that one can really go through in life. And being able to tackle those, overcome those, and be adaptable and versatile and malleable and trust in the plan, right? I think that
it is so huge. I hired a coach in 2008, and that's how I began this journey also for my own self. And the law of attraction and is learning, you create your own reality, your thoughts create reality, and you are in charge. You can't blame anyone else for shit that happens. You're in charge of your happiness in life. That was the most amazing journey. Yeah, I loved it. She sadly she did pass away last year, but she was such an amazing influence in my life. I love that woman. Shona Bellew was her name. But
Kelly,
yeah, it was such a blessing
pass on
having,
your lessons.
yeah, it was just amazing. So you've been working with clients, haven't you, one-on-one since you started?
Correct. Yes. So we do one-on-one
Life,
coaching with
yeah.
health and nutrition. So we're looking to morph that. We're obviously going to continue with health and nutrition because it's so important to,
Yeah,
get
just
those herbals and botanicals and the antioxidants and the vitamins and the minerals that we're not getting from the food that we're consuming on a daily basis. Right. So that is vital to, what you put in your body is vital to what happens in your mind, right? Because what your cells are made of is exactly what you're putting in your body. So they go hand in hand. So we're looking forward to really taking, our focus has very much been on helping people get their nutrition on point and helping them achieve health and wellness related goals. So we're looking forward to taking that to the next level and really helping people evolve in their life and growing their life skills, learning learning the importance of connection, learning the importance of going within and doing the work, right? Because when you can teach people to open up to the signs, that's the the changes happen for you. You just become a guide.
that's when the
And I think
magic
that,
happens.
right. So I think that is what really excites me, and both my wife and I have been fortunate enough, like you, to have some incredible mentors and coaches who, have opened us up to being able to be in touch, right? I think that's just it is really a gift to be able to connect with someone, especially through a screen right now. Like I would love just being one-on-one, but the virtual, being able to connect with somebody and have that emotional connection, not just the visceral physical connection, but guiding them to a place where they can make an emotional, spiritual, and then a physical change through this medium, I think is just so powerful.
Especially this year, right? It's just been a crazy
For sure.
year, and having the
For sure.
connection has been amazing.
Absolutely.
So some of your clients, I thought you were doing life coaching this whole time. And so it's been mainly health and nutrition based.
You could consider it life coaching. We've never really
Named it,
considered
labeled it.
ourselves life coaches. I mean, it takes on its own form, right? Because when you are coaching people through nutrition, you are coaching them through life changes, because I think everybody should know at this point that it's not just making a physical change. Any type of physical change requires a behavioral change in order to maintain the physical change, right? So it does go
It comes
hand
into
in hand.
play.
Exactly. So, I do have a pretty strong background in that. My background is in public health, and I've always been really interested in why people do what they do. So, helping people figure that out, because when it's not just addressing, the symptom. It's just like being a doctor. It's not just addressing the symptom. It's finding the root cause. And if you can find the root cause and address the root cause, that's going to evoke change.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I in my 30s, I was unhappy and I felt depressed, and I thought, I'm just not in the right job. It's my job. It's my job. It's my job. And so I hired this lady, Shona, to be my coach. And I thought she was going to be my career coach and help me. And she started asking about my childhood and my past. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about the past. I'm going to talk about my job. It's just, I'm fine. It's my job. That's the problem. And then I realized, I'm the problem. It's not my job. My job's just a circumstance in my life. And I started working on that and looking within in my behaviors and my belief systems, and realizing
Right.
I'm the one making myself unhappy. I'm living to this belief system that I was my perception in childhood growing up, and I just had never let it go. And I didn't realize that was dictating my life. No, it was
Absolutely, right. And we all have experiences that end up shaping, our beliefs based on emotions, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that,
I love
right?
him.
He's amazing, right? But
Wow.
that's why we chronically relapse, right? It's all based on the emotions, right? Think about when you smell something that is very close to your heart. It could be a perfume, for somebody that you were close with. It could be
Yeah, it brings you back to that moment.
Right. And it brings you back to that moment. It's so powerful. It's one of the most powerful ways to connect to a memory. So that's just that.
You hear a song, huge. Song brings you back.
Right. I think about that all the time, but like Dr. Joe says, it's those emotions that shape the feelings, and those feelings create the experience.
And I struggled in the beginning with, how do you change your belief system? Like, you've lived this your whole life. You know that when you do this, this happens, bad things happen. And then to be able to be like, okay, I don't believe that anymore. It's like, it's a process where you got to start living it, and like it doesn't exist. And it takes time. That was my personal experience anyway, in changing your belief system.
Right.
You have to, and meditating is a huge part of that. Just surrendering to the universe and being like, I'm not going to live this way anymore.
I've heard a term for this. Are you ready? It's called radical responsibility.
I've heard of radical forgiveness. I've not heard of responsibility.
Yeah. Taking radical responsibility. I am 100% responsible for everything that is currently in my life and everything that is not in my life.
Yes. I love it.
Radical
it's so true, right? And then once you accept that,
in just a few words.
Say that again.
That's exactly what you said in just a few words.
Yeah.
Radical responsibility.
And it's so life-changing once you realize, at the age of 36 or 7, I don't forget how old I was, but I didn't realize that. I really thought shit just happened to me, and I didn't create my own reality. But over the past years, I mean, it seems like it's more and more accepted, and people know that they create their own reality. Now, the people you work with, yes. Oh my God. Since the first day I met Shona, I've changed so much. Oh my God. I feel her with me all the time too. She talks to me.
Everybody needs that guide. I have a lighthouse tattoo. You can't see it because I have my sweatshirt on, but I have a lighthouse tattooed right here, right? So there's always a guide.
I love it. It's just so inspiring, and everyone does. That's why when you and I were talking at the pool and be your own hero, it just fit right in line with everything I'd been working on with my coach, Shona. It just was so perfect. And it's so true. We are our own hero. We just need to realize it.
We need to realize it. We are the ones that put up the roadblocks. We're the ones that create the restraints. We're the ones that put on the seatbelts. Sometimes involuntarily, we put on the seatbelts. We hold ourselves back, not even realizing that we're doing it. But it's literally just because we've been ingrained. We've been trained.
A habit.
It's a habit. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit to accept what we have and not want for more, or just accept what is, not even wondering, well, is there anything better? I want to be that guy that I am, that guy that comes home. I came home from work and I said, there's got to be more than this, right? Coming home from the 9 to 5, there's got to be more.
Yep.
And that's how we found this situation.
I love it. Now, what would be your advice for people, because they get with the election and if you get too involved in politics, you go crazy, like teaching them how to step back and like rise above the situation and look at the bigger picture. Like we're moving into this age of light, and we're going into the light. It's not doom and gloom, but it feels very doom and gloom if you focus on the election and politics. Like, do you talk to people? Do you have clients that you talk about that, or give them advice on how to be neutral or disassociate from it?
So in general, I personally used to avoid politics because I used to have this belief that not so much that ignorance was bliss, but that if I was ignorant, I could survive on somebody else's knowledge, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
Right. So now I feel like it's become very forefront in our lives, where being ignorant necessarily isn't okay anymore, right? So I believe that politics, you need to be open-minded, especially in today's current political climate. You need to be open-minded as to the sources of information and where it's coming from. And I think it's very important to read everything and listen to everything with discernment. And I say that, I say that with emphasis, with discernment, because it's important, to really discern your information and figure out, okay, like, where is this coming from? Where does that information lead to? Um, you know, to take it at face value, because for so long we've been told, like, okay, we trust these people, you know that you're getting the information from, and
Mm,
it's almost like, okay, now you kind of have to question everything. And I was just talking about this with my wife, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with questioning everything now, because for the last 33 years of my life, I didn't question anything, especially like, I wanted to be the CEO of a hospital. And before that, I wanted to be a doctor, right? So I love science. I love helping people. And I thought that that was the way that I wanted to do it. Being an entrepreneur was totally accidental. And I look at how I was trained to read the science, know the science, trust the science, evidence based this, evidence based that, right? And now we come to find out that there's science that has been purposely falsified to support
right.
certain arguments and certain medications, and we the people are the ones that didn't know.
We
So
believed.
exactly. So I think, at this time, when it comes to politics, I tell everybody that they should put a bubble on, because it is a very heavy energy. And number one, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole. You don't know what information you're going to find, especially now. There's lots of things that are coming out if you're plugged into the right places and you're open to it, right? If you're just watching the news, you may not know what's happening. So I think it's important that people are, number one, open to receive the information, because without receiving the information of the other side, in my opinion, that makes you uneducated in that particular area. If you only know one side of the story or only one viewpoint, right? In order to be adequately informed to form an opinion and render some sort of decision, let's say, I would always want to know more information. And that just comes back to my training, right? It just comes back to learning how to write scientific articles, and you question things. So yeah, I think it's very important that I would tell people that they should put on their energetic bubble, and that they should follow them where their heart is guiding them, because that energy that we talked about in the universe right now is much more powerful, and it is pulling you for a reason.
Yes, but I find it very easy to go down the rabbit hole and find out who's doing what and all of that. And I do the research, and I do enjoy learning about it, but I also am really good about taking a step back. And when I meditate, I rise above it and I look, it's just like I'm not engaging, I'm
Yeah.
observing. And
Yes.
it's such a different energy than getting engaged and getting all pissed off and getting angry at who did what. And it's like, okay, it's all going to come out in the wash and we're moving to the light, and so be it.
That's right. That's right. And it's hard. Letting go is a process. Uh, we probably spend our lifetime learning how to let go and what to let go of, but letting go is just, it's like this transient thing that it just happens, right? Like, as we're taking on life, we're simultaneously letting go. It's a beautiful process. It just goes, right? It's only when we try to interfere that we put up the roadblocks, and that things get blocked, or we talk about chakras and all that. And I'm just really kind of getting into energy in the body. This is all relatively new to me, but I'm really interested.
I love it. I
And
love it. There's a girl named Lori Ladd. She does videos. Have you heard of her?
no.
She does this analogy, and she says you're in life, you're going down the river, and you're going to pass by a boulder here, a boulder here. You can choose to cling on to it and be like, this is my life now, or just let it pass and keep going down the river.
That's right.
Such a great
That's
analogy.
it is. It is really interesting. You know what it reminds me of? The road less traveled quote. There's a fork in the road. Forget exactly how it goes, but you take the road less traveled. And Yeah, brings me right back there.
Yeah. And it's like, it's important to realize that this isn't defining you. It's just a bump
No,
in the road. You like,
that's it.
okay, this is happening right now. I'm going to keep going because this is not defining me. This is not who I am.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's a choice, right? Because any event that happens in our life, we consciously choose that it can define us
Right.
or not.
And I don't think a lot of people are conscious of that. They don't know any better.
And we're too busy, trying to earn an income to support our very expensive lives, that we don't have time to think, or don't take the time to think about, those life
That's why people like
occurrences.
you are helping waken people.
Gotta break it down, right? I think it's important, and even especially in quarantine, you know, talking to people, staying connected. Um, I think a lot of people, including myself, probably kind of backed off, right? We stopped doing the things that we do on a daily basis. We stopped going to the gym. We stopped going to the
Oh,
bakery. We stopped going to, like, the supermarket every night to go get dinner. And we only went, once every 2 weeks, right? So our habits changed. And, that deeply changed the way that we are connected. So, finding a way to share in energy and collaborate in creation, I think, is vital to, success and connection in this current day and age.
yeah. And during this lockdown, it is difficult to connect with other people. So having the ability to get quiet and go within and realize you're going to be fine. Like, don't
That's
let the
right.
external circumstances rock your internal world. It's just probably going to get a lot bumpier out there. So it's really important to stay grounded.
Agreed. But I think the climate will calm down soon.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I hope so too. There's lots of growth to be had, right? Like you said, we're all headed towards the light. So
I know. I'm so excited. When did you first learn about this work and you create your own reality? When did you first realize that?
I feel like I grew up in a pretty blessed family. I grew up. Um, I would, we weren't like overly wealthy, but we grew up very, very comfortable. We had a very comfortable life, and my uncles always had businesses, so I always knew of the finer things in life. I always liked the finer things in life. And when I first was able to earn my own money, and, even till this day, I still like the finer things in life. And I get great pleasure out of being able to earn for myself and being able to not only purchase the things that I want, but purchase nice things, right? I very much enjoy that. It is a sign of, the amount of lives that I've touched. It's the amount of people that I've helped. That's what I link it to. It's not about, anything else.
But you know that it's your belief systems are what have created the life that you
Correct.
have.
Correct. It's all been a path that has kind of gotten me, and my wife to this place. It's that unshakable belief in our ability to be able to not only just tell people, like, this is possible, that you can change your life, that you can make a change, that you can make a decision, that you can make a commitment, that you can commit to no longer just being okay with settling for being adequate, that you can decide that you have that power, right? It took work, it took plugging in, it took listening to podcasts, it took reading books, right? But being able to show people that they can do it versus being able to tell people that they can do it, and being able to say, look, here's the plan, this is what you're going to do. It's called trust, first of all, right? Do you trust me to guide you there? And if the answer is yes, then let's go. And I think that has been very much our approach to really guiding people. I know what has worked for us time and time again in terms of our health and what we put into our bodies and what we trust in our bodies and our kids' bodies, and what has fueled my body through my cancer journey. I stand in integrity behind that. So that is the groundwork for everything there.
Oh yeah, you're walking the walk. You're not just talking.
100%. So being able to say like, okay, listen, if you can, and I again, I think there's been so many people that, have repeated this, but, go out there and find somebody who's doing what you want to do and somebody who has what you would like to have, and do what they're doing. And then you can have it too. Right.
And it's so huge to get into the excitement of that too, right? Get into the emotion of it and just feel like you already have it. That is such a big part of it.
Oh, manifestation is so important, right? And I think, as the universal energy is changing around us, the time between those synchronistic moments is shortening. I know it's happening for me. I would think it's happening for plenty of other people. I know just the other day I saw 11:11, I saw 2:22, and then 5:55, all in the same day, right? So that's something, again, that I'm not saying it hasn't happened in my life before. I've never been open enough to receive the messages that are trying to be told to me. And when you're open, it's not so much that I'm looking, it's that I'm open. It's like that great phrase that everybody tells you about love. You'll find love when you least expect it, which in my life was so freaking true for so many years. I looked for love in all the wrong places. And finally, I started working on myself, and I made some changes to my health. I was in the best shape that I ever had, which had nothing to do with why my wife fell in love with me. But we met through business. That's how we got together. We met at a business event, and our minds were on the same growth trajectory. Our businesses were on the growth trajectory, and we synced, and that was meant to happen. I didn't know why, but I trusted in the plan.
It's just meant to be. It's funny. I was working on, it was this one lady, Christy Mattoon, and we're talking about manifesting. I'm like, I have a really hard time manifesting. And I said, okay, I'm just going to manifest something super easy. I just want to see a feather, like a big feather. And I said, I'm going to see if it happens today. So I go, there's a park across the street from me. So after we hung up, I walked across the street, and the entire lawn was feathers. Huge feathers, because there's a ton of geese there. And I'm sure the feathers are there. I know they're there all the time, but I had never noticed it, because I was like, my mind was like, I'm going to manifest a feather, a feather, a feather. I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen these feathers before. Where'd they come from? And it's like, now every time I go, there's feathers everywhere.
Yep.
But before that day, I had never seen a feather.
That's how it works, though. The universe, like I said, is always aligning to really kind of give you what you desire,
and what you focus on and what you're open to.
Correct. You have to match that energetic frequency, right? You can't say that I want $1 million, but then, live at such a low vibrating level. And when I mean live at a low vibrating level, I'm talking about spending money, quicker than you earn it, living in a place of, shame and guilt versus, love and service, right? Those are two very different places, two very different energetic frequencies, and they correspond.
It is so true. When you look at the energy, the vibration of where you want to be and where you are now, it has to match before you can manifest that. You can create that life that you want.
Correct. And I think it's simple. A lot of people, they give manifestation the good old X, like, it didn't work for me, because you start with something too big. Again, your mind is a muscle, right? You got to start with something. You got to start with something small. As silly as it may seem, I remember when I was, first kind of put in touch with the idea of manifestation. And again, it was something that I was very closed off to. I was scientific, and there was no hard scientific evidence that tells me that manifestation, works, right? But then I watched it happen in my life, and it started to happen time and time and time again, and it is a muscle. And what happens when you start to work out a muscle, that muscle grows, it becomes more powerful, it becomes more fine-tuned, right? So being able to work on that muscle every day by starting with something as simple as a cup of coffee, and being able to envision your hands around the warm mug and feeling the warmth of, the mug in your hands, and being able to smell the aroma of the coffee and taste the creaminess of the cream. You go that far, right? But then watch, you get up out of your chair and you go make yourself a cup of coffee, right?
Right.
And where's
voila.
your coffee? Wow. But
I love that level of detail getting in it.
that is the key to life, right? Even when we're goal setting, it's so easy to set this huge, ginormous, big goal of, I want to earn $750,000 this year. Great. What are you going to do to get there if you don't go into that fine level of detail? If you aren't asking yourself those those higher level and lower level questions, all the way down to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how seriously committed am I to earning $750,000 in the time frame that I set? And if your answer is not a 10, then you have to address, well, how do I get myself to a 10? Because if you don't, it's not happening. Right? So it's really important to set goals that are appropriate and, staged, right? With surmountable goals along the way, because we all want to get that pat on the back for the achievement. We all want to feel that excitement. So it's very important to make sure that that happens. Otherwise, we're super quick to give up on the goal unless somebody else is attached to it. In that case, we're more likely to show up for the other person.
Right.
We are to quit than we are to quit.
And in the goal setting, how do you go through the process in recommending that you write down your goals and then you look at them every day, or what is your process that you tell people to go through?
Well, I think everybody's a little bit different, right? So finding out, what is going to motivate people is kind of the most important thing, right? So when we're coaching people, we're talking about having people understand what type of personality do they have? What color personality are they? Are they a red personality? Are they a yellow personality? What's their love language? Do they like words of affirmation? Do they like time spent? What is it that drives them, right? And when we can, again, get to the root of what is motivating to them, then we can implement.
I love that.
Right? And it could be as simple as, yeah, you might need to see something on your mirror every day, but walking into the mirror, into your bathroom and looking at the mirror and seeing the note that says, I am awesome. I can do this. You're amazing, Greg. You're going to achieve, whatever the goal is going to be, right? It could be whatever. And seeing that day in and day out, knowing that you wrote it 2 weeks ago, maybe for you doesn't have the same effect of every night you need to go in and write it before you go to bed, that I am amazing. I am strong. I am beautiful. I have an amazing beard. My smile is amazing, right? It could be anything that's going to empower you and lift up your energy so that when you see it, it attaches that emotion and you feel it.
What if you don't believe it?
If you don't believe it, you got to
say it, but you don't believe it.
So that's the thing, right? There are lots of people who believe in faking it until you make it, right? I think you have to do the work to get to the place that you want to be. I think that faking it in your mind, you know what's real. And then at that point, you have kind of trouble disassociating between what's real and what's fake, right? So give yourself the opportunity to grow into that space.
So the fake it till you make it, I look at it 2 different ways. There's one where you're faking it because you don't really believe it, but you're saying it anyway. And then there's the other way where you're not where you want to be, but you're faking it like you already are there because you're in that mindset, that feeling that you're already there, even though you're not. I don't know which one is the one people refer to.
I feel like belief can be grown. Belief can be learned, right? It's not something. It's not something that's kind of innate that people just have, right? Again, it's kind of one of those, the belief muscle, we call it, right? And if you don't have enough belief in yourself, then I think that you need to borrow it from somebody else. And that's the importance of, the accountability partner or a coach, right? That's why we do this, right? If you're in that space, you require borrowing the belief from somebody who sees you differently than you see yourself.
Yep. And that's exactly what my coach did for me. Yeah, it was amazing.
100%.
Because
Because
her eyes was so different than my eyes.
yeah, when we're at our worst, right? Sometimes we need somebody to pull us up, and asking for help and understanding that it's okay to ask for help is the most important first step.
Yeah, and for me, it was important that it was someone that I didn't know. Like I didn't call it was on a friend or a family member or something. It was needed to be someone completely unrelated.
Impartial, right?
Impartial, yeah. It was awesome. I love the whole coaching and helping each other out and being there for one another. It's just awesome.
It's so important. We all have different skills, that others don't have. So being able to kind of lend that helping ear, it helps me get stronger, in connection. And I love listening to people.
Yeah. So how can people, if they want to, so you all kinds of clients you're taking for life coaching now. So how can people get in touch with you and work with you? And
absolutely. Thank you so much. So you can follow both my wife and I in a couple of different places. So you can find us on Facebook at either the Be Your Own Hero Project, which is our page. And then our personal pages are Greg Sable and Jessica Sable, Sable. Or you can find us on Instagram at the Be Your Own Hero Project. And Jessica can be found at the Strong and Healthy Mom. Strong and Healthy Mom.
Nice, on Instagram.
Yep, absolutely. And that's
Awesome.
That's our two primary spots right now.
And then on your pages, is that where you talk about the nutrition that you supply, the company?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We handle everything through social media right now. Believe it or not, we've built an incredible business over the last 6 years, pretty much through social media. We're actually just now getting ready to launch into a website space. And again, like I said, we're expanding the umbrella of what Be Your Own Hero is. And we took on the idea of the Be Your Own Hero project. And, we're just taking it to, I'm so excited for where it's going to go. It's going to be
so cool.
It's going to be awesome. I think in my mind, I'm playing it much smaller than what it can be.
Yeah, for now. Okay. And that they want to order the nutritional products, they do it from your Facebook? That there's links there to do that?
We typically don't do anything through links. We like to have conversation with all of our clients first, just to ensure that they are being properly guided and that they're getting everything that they need and nothing that they don't.
Okay. I was just wondering how they make that jump. Okay. They work with you and
yeah, once we have a conversation, then we can guide them to various resources and the different packages as far as the nutrition is concerned. So it doesn't matter what your goals are. If you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to put on lean muscle, if you're looking to improve your sleep quality, improve the quality of your energy, your performance, whatever that goal is for you, we have a solution for it. So
I miss when I don't do my green drinks. I go to the farmer's market on weekends. I get all these sprouts, these fresh sprouts, a variety of them, and fresh spinach, and put an apple and an avocado in there and mix it up. It's so good. I crave it. My body misses it when I don't have it.
You feel the energy, all those good vitamins, right? It's so important.
I love it. So tasty. Well, it's been fun talking to you. I really appreciate you coming on.
Likewise, this was so awesome. I really appreciate you having me on.
I hope I can see you in Miami at a pool again one day.
That would be awesome. I'll probably have my family this time.
All right. I welcome that.
Likewise.
All right. Thanks, Greg. I'll post all your links in the description of the video so people know how to reach you.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Remember when you told me